What is up, Survivor Now fans, and welcome to the pre-show. Yes, I'm not Randy. I'm the better version. Well, you didn't hear that from me. But no, I am filling in for Randy tonight. But of course, we have the lovely Abraham. Abraham, how are you doing?
I'm back from Orlando. The celebrity weekend was outstanding. 130 celebrities from different reality shows. We had a great time. Had a great time with the fans. Met a lot of good people. Looking forward to next year. I did not repel this year. I'm going to repel next year off the side of the building. So not this year.
You've got that on video now, Abe. So we've all got that confession. So if you don't do it. And joining us this week, I am very excited to have Sarah and Abigail from the Wicked Unscripted Podcast. Ladies, how are you both doing?
So well.
Great.
So
Great. I'm excited and to talk about probably my favorite season of Survivor thus far. So it just seems to be climbing. So I'm loving it. No offense, Abraham.
I was going to say that's been the consensus. So many people have kind of been saying this has been their favorite kind of season of the new era. So I'm going to go to Abigail. What are your thoughts on this season, overall so far?
Oh yeah, I'm with Sarah. This is my personal new favorite season, or favorite season, at least of the new era. I think they're
new era for sure.
OG seasons that will always have a piece of my heart. But I've seen on my TikTok page, at least, a little debate about whether 46 or 47 has been the best of the new era. And I think it's fair to have that debate because they each have very different elements to them that made them so intense, so entertaining. So I think that one's kind of just, it's cool if you have your own opinion with which one. But for me, 47's been the best. It's nonstop entertainment. And I can't wait for tonight.
Nice. I think all of us can't wait. Abe, you've kind of been obviously here for the most part. So give us your rundown on how things are shaping up going into this part one of a two-part finale.
I'm going to go with Abigail on this one. I think that the characters that they become have been something that we really want to see what's going to happen next. We want to see if Sam eats an apple. Is he still eating fruit? We want to see if Andy is truly the mastermind that he's portraying himself to be. We want to see if Rachel is actually going to be the winner. That's how we're looking for. He's like, hey, she's actually going to be the winner. And is Sue really 45? I mean, we're trying to figure that out.
If you need that confirmation, Abe, we can all go to the Wikipedia, but that's another story. Before I get to any other questions, though, we have to go and give some love to the people in the chat. Jay is here. Georgette is here. Amy is here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Just remember, if you are here live, join us in the live chat because we're going to be having questions all throughout the night and we want to hear your voices as well. So, quickly, going back to last episode, Sarah, what did you think about last episode? Because it was a big move that happened and I think everyone has thought this. Operation
Italy had me craving pasta the entire week. I was fed and thoroughly. It was so good. I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think there was a universe where this actually panned out. I love that we've gotten in a state of our fandom where we can predict what's going to happen based on the edit. And they are just playing us for fools this season. And I love that. I love that we were all just shocked and awed at the end of it. And this last episode was chef's kiss. Love it. Sue is still just grating my nerves. And I feel I love Teenie so much, but I feel like this was a bad edit for her too. But overall, the episode was just phenomenal.
Oh, is Teenie still on Survivor or is she just hanging out? I mean, what is her gameplay again? Because I'm kind of missing it. Besides, just kind of angry look.
I think Teenie's got a great head for the game. I think Teenie is just putting her trust and alliances in the wrong people and not distrusting the people that she should. So she finds herself being blindsided time and time again. It's not for lack of trying. She's not a floater, coaster, whatever this Survivor-like phrase would be for that, but she's not just hanging out. I feel so bad. I just feel so bad for her.
She's with the wrong cast.
Yeah.
I think if we had a different cast,
yes.
She would definitely dominate. But I think sometimes you just get put in the wrong group, and it's like it just never looks like you're the one because of the group.
That's such a great point. I totally agree with that.
I just want to say with Teenie, I feel like my thing with Teenie is, I agree with you, Sarah, that they have kind of been blindsided a lot of the times. But when you look at their voting record, they have been really strong with voting in the majority and never really falling into that minority position. So this is why Teenie for me is in this really weird kind of space, because yes, this is kind of one of the first times they've properly voted in the minority. But when you look at their standings, they've only ever received one vote, and it was just a hinky vote by the looks of things. So I am very intrigued to see where kind of Teenie goes here. Jay has actually put in the chat, did Teenie get unlucky with a bad cast? And they would have done better with a different cast. Potentially, you've all said yes. So my question is, looking at the new era, do we see a cast that she could have potentially done better in? Abbie? Or Abigail, sorry. I don't want to say it.
Oh, no. Abigail's
She goes by both.
It's whatever people choose, because I don't get picky. I'm trying to think. Maybe
46 might not have been a bad cast for her.
I mean, I think 46 had a lot of opportunities. 45 and 46, I think there were, but it had to be on specific tribes. Like, I think if Teenie was on a tribe with Katura, I think that might have gone better than. I think that could have been a really good ally for Teenie. And that's just one person that I'm thinking right off the top of my head. Kelly could have been probably a really good ally for Teenie as well. Like, I'm trying to think of maybe less about the tribe as a whole, but maybe a specific person on these tribes. I think if Teenie was on a Charlie, that maybe Charlie could have manipulated the situation in a way where Teenie would have felt much more comfortable in their position in the game. Just using, like I said, random allies. And I think Liz, too, would have been a really interesting ally for Teenie. So there's a lot of interesting people that I think that could have had her back more than other people did.
Imagine
I mean, the salty fan in me thinks that, maybe if Teenie just saved Asia, they wouldn't be in this position. So,
that's Sarah.
Where is Josh? I know Josh is thinking the exact same thing with one of our other podcasters. Do you know what you mentioned, Liz? I would have loved. Imagine just especially because of how Teenie reacted to not getting picked for the Italian. Them and Liz just.
Yeah.
That would have.
Do we think that was a lot, by the way? That was a lot, like almost out of character for Teenie, right?
Yes.
Did that come off as okay? It wasn't just me, because I was thinking maybe is it the edit? It seemed like a lot.
I can tell you right now, we on the show that I normally do on a Saturday, got something for you. Quick plug. We actually delve into the social medias and we run polls. And one of our polls was, do you think Teenie overreacted? And I believe it was 85% said yes.
Okay.
They did. So you are not alone in that, Sarah.
So
it was giving Liz 2.0 to me. Reminded me a lot of the outburst.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be Applebee's. Nobody's going to be able to you just can't outdo that.
No.
It was crazy as we were trying to go to Applebee's with Liz in Orlando.
That would have been a sight. Oh my God.
That would have been hilarious.
Funnier than Liz is herself, her daughter.
Really?
10 years comical. I was like, what is that? But I just think Teenie as a player, she just kind of seems like she's in a spot that nobody else is. And you have to speak to your game, especially now in the last final 2 episodes. What is she going to speak on? That blindsided the whole season? You didn't know exactly what was going to happen this season? And I think she has the game. I'm with you. I agree 100%. She has it in her. She's just with the wrong group that says, like, even the thing she said to Genevieve. Genevieve's trying to talk to her. Genevieve said, "You came off real angry." I was like, "That's an odd statement to have on camera," but okay. I don't know.
Well, did y'all see Kyle's exit interviews where he was talking about Teenie and the leaky information, and that he spilled that to Caroline? So I went into this episode thinking Teenie might be in the most trouble. Because thinking that we hadn't seen everything that Kyle came out talking about. So I don't know if maybe that's still happening and we're just not seeing it in the edit.
Yeah. Well, you say that. And actually, when you look at the promo, when you looked at from the last episode, the next time on Survivor, we kind of did see Teenie go straight to Sam, Genevieve, and Andy and kind of just go, here is everything. Here are the beans. Spill it how you want. So I think we could potentially see that kind of this episode. But just moving on kind of from Teeny and stuff, I want to talk about everyone else because like last round, Operation Italy, I feel like this one of the few times I will ever give Andy, I've not been a big Andy fan, but for you all, Operation Italy, Andy, Sam, Genevieve, who gets the credit or who gets the most credit? I'm going to go to Abe first.
Oh, that's a good one. We want to say Andy is not as clever as you. We don't want to say it. We don't even want to give into it and be like, Andy is really pulling the strings on a lot of different things. We don't want to even say that. So I'm going to say this right here. Genevieve mastermind keeping this all together by making a fake idol. And then she had to sell that fake idol as a fake idol. I think there was an episode where she kind of shows Teeny, then she got to put her in her pocket because one of the other players is coming. Greatest moment ever to set a ruse in place. Because that way I don't give Andy any credit, but I can say Genevieve did everything.
Fair. Abbie, Sarah?
You go first. I'm still trying to figure out.
I am going to give Andy the credit for this. Andy, I've kind of watched this season. I see something of I can empathize with Andy. If I were to go into the Big Brother house, for those who watch Big Brother, I know that I probably first 3 weeks would be a total Angela and be losing my mind all the time just because I'm overthinking everything and just being overwhelmed with my dreams coming true. I saw that in him. And then once I saw that imposter syndrome level out and the anxiety start and him becoming comfortable, I've watched him make selfish moves and moves that were game decisions for him, putting loyalty second in his game first, which is something that I always want to see in a player. And I've just watched time and time again him shift and navigate his sides of the tribe in a way where some people might call it a snake-like. I think, these are games that are meant to be played selfishly and you are there to get your bag. So I have immense amount of respect for a player who can put aside the anxiety of pissing someone off and doing what's best for their game. And that's what I feel like he did in this moment. However, I do think that a big portion of the success of Operation Italy came in execution from all three players. So they had to act it up. They each had their part to play, and the way they played kind of like a teamwork game in those situations, like with Teeny and showing the idol, I felt like every part of it was flawless and something I haven't seen in a long time.
Nice. Round us off, Abbie.
I think I will lean a little more towards Sarah, but I think my answer is more, I think I'll be interested. And I guess if we're talking just as a blanket thing, totally, I think I'd pick Andy as the person who would get the most credit, but I don't think it's by much. I think it's just, if we're talking in thirds, I think they all get very fair, somewhat equal credit for this move, because I think they all played a really intricate role. And had they not each played their role in this, nothing would have come through. And I think what my thought really is how this plays out in Final Tribal Council, because we don't know who's going to be there yet. And I think that's why I'm thinking about it tiered. If Andy's there, I think Andy can find ways to take credit for the move on his own, because it's like, even if Genevieve concocted a plan and it wouldn't have worked if I didn't have the social ties that I had. Because really Sam and Genevieve were reliant on those social ties for that move to work. But I do think if he's there with Genevieve has a way of trying to manipulate the jury into thinking that it is still more her move than his. And so that's why I'm thinking if those two are in the final two together or final three or whatever we get, oh my God, that will be a bloodbath, because it'll come back to Operation Italy, and that would just be, that'd be a great way to end the season, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've got some people in the chat. Jay is saying that Andy gets the most credit because if it weren't for him influencing the group of 4 to split the vote, Operation Italy would not have worked, which is very fair. He had to be able to get that split vote. And we've also got Roy in the chat. Hey, Roy. Loves what you were saying about Andy's game, Sarah, by the way. On Andy, because my question here is this going to come back to bite him in the bum this round? Because we kind of saw it with the jury. They kind of straight away knew it was Andy, and when Andy flipped again. Do we think that, because we've actually seen this season, which I've really enjoyed, they've really been panning to the jury, and they've been making us look at the jury's reactions, which to me is very old school, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
But do we think that the perception is going well for Andy from that instance, but also in the game? Could everyone just turn around like the three girls and go, bye, Andy, don't know, don't need to know you?
Well, what we're looking at right now is there's two players that can make it to the final. We know Sue has an immunity idol. We know Rachel has an immunity idol and a blocker bubble. So we know that those two are going to make it. And I think they got to use it by the time they hit the fifth. So whoever gets voted out tonight, we know it definitely could not be those two if they played right. So that leaves Andy, Sam. Yeah, so there's three other people that they could be voted out tonight. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how it all plays out. I think it's going to be a surprise. If Rachel doesn't make it to a position in the top three, and let's say Andy makes it there with anybody else, pick any of the rest of them, I think Andy's going to change his voice. I think Andy's going to speak in a way we're going to be like, who in the world was this player? Where was he at? I think Andy's just getting ready to give his speech. Now, Teeny's a little volatile right now, so I would probably put a target on her back to vote her out, especially if she goes well, here's the edit. The edit led us astray every time. So the edit says Teeny is going to give a lot of information up. That doesn't mean Teeny's going to get voted out. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. I think either Sue's going to accidentally get voted out because she's going to feel too comfortable, or Sam's going to get voted out.
Well, this is the thing. We actually might have two people voted out tonight because obviously we're definitely going to have the final 6 tribal, and they've said we're going to have the final 5 tribal. I have this gut feeling they're going to leave it on a cliffhanger. So whether or not we have one person leaving tonight or two, and it kind of the second part of the finale starts with the results of final 5 tribal, I don't know. But we're going to see a lot of dynamics play out this kind of episode, which I'm excited for. Actually, I need to ask you this. Thoughts on a 2-part finale? How are we feeling about a 2-part finale?
I think it gives possible final 2. I think it does. And I think to the point you made, I think there will be 2 people gone tonight. And I think the possible cliffhanger personally will be fire making if they keep it at 4. And they'll just be like, come back next week and see who wins. And you'll like see the matchup and they'll be like, Jeff will be ready to go. That would be my personal prediction. I love the idea of a final of a 2-part final as long as they do it right, though. Like we need to make sure the story still flows the way it's been flowing all season. So that's just my only concern. But I think they've done it really well with listening to the concerns and critiques we've had and pros and cons that we've expressed from previous seasons. So I have hope that they know what they're doing here.
Fab. Well, Amy in the chat, a final 2 would be so good. Jay kind of agrees. A 2-part finale that's actually a 1-part finale, maybe. And Roy's just going back to the jury comments, rewatching it yesterday. He didn't see the flipping comment as more of a negative, but we don't know yet until final tribal council or even those exit interviews. So moving on to this. We're kind of already going on to this first part finale. I've got a question for all of you. In your view, what does each castaway have to do in order to get themselves to the end with a good chance of winning? Because right now we've got 6 players. We've got Sam, Genevieve, Andy, Teeny, Sue, and Rachel. We can go one at a time on each of them. What do each of them have to do to not only get to the end, but have a good chance of winning? I'll let you have a think about it. Why don't we take a quick break so you guys can have your thoughts on this, and then we will get started. So we will have a little teaser.
Think you're the most knowledgeable Survivor superfan? Well, you can put that to the test with our Fantasy Survivor game. Welcome to Bracketology, fantasy sports for reality TV. We provide fantasy football style games for your favorite shows like Survivor and many more. We also have bracket style elimination challenges. Set your picks once for the whole season to see how your prediction skills fared. And don't forget to check out the season extras like contestant info, where you can see all the bios of each contestant, and our scoring recaps that are published each episode. Download the Bracketology mobile app or play on your computer at fantasy.bracketology.tv. It's entirely free to play, and you can win some awesome prizes. Good luck.
And that was our bracketology. Remember, make your picks because you have not got long if you want a chance at all those amazing prizes. So I posed the question. So does anyone want to start on a particular person?
I'll start with Teeny.
Go for it.
I think in order for Teeny to win, Teeny needs to make a move within these next 2 votes that they can claim as their own and can say that it shifted the game in a way that benefits them grandly. And I think there are plenty of opportunities, especially Genevieve, I think would be the move. If Teeny could somehow orchestrate and take credit for Genevieve's vote out, I think there's a chance that Teeny could actually really set themselves up in a good position in the jury's eyes.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else on Teeny?
No, I agree on Teeny.
I would say Teeny would have to take out Andy or Rachel in order to because everybody's saying, hey, Genevieve and Sam are easy votes because they look like they're on the outs. But if she takes out Andy or Rachel, or she takes out Rachel, I think that's the biggest move that she can make this late in the game. She's just kind of late making decisions. So I wouldn't give her, if you do Genevieve, that's like, we was going to vote her out anyway 3 votes ago. So be voting out now. Okay. But if you take out Rachel, who's been dominating in challenges as well, that will be a power move on her part. So I think that what leads up to how we see the edit. And she's telling everything. Because if you meet Rachel feel good and she doesn't play anything, you vote her out this close and she has enough to stay, that would be an epic move.
That's fair. We'll move on to Rachel, but we've got some people saying hi in the chat.
Hi, Lucas.
One of our very dedicated fans. We love Lucas.
They've come over to us. So let's kind of move on to Rachel because Abe kind of said it. She's a powerhouse. It would be a power move. So what does Rachel have to do? It kind of sounds like to get to the end because it maybe sounds like she already has a good chance of winning.
Rachel's going to have to either keep winning or dig her heels in with, I think that she has a shot to build. Sue needs her and she needs Sue. They need to build that relationship together. Rachel needs to dig her heels into having some numbers on her side because if she doesn't win, she's going to need those numbers. I think that I don't see her appealing to Sam or Genevieve at all. So she needs to work on Andy and the Sue side of things. But Rachel needs to win, Sam needs to win, and Genevieve. Those are their paths to the end because one of them is going home if they don't. So.
Okay. Anyone else on Rachel?
Yeah, I agree with Sarah.
Yeah.
Rachel's an excellent game. Is just but we've seen players that play good up to this point. They win in the challenges, and as soon as they lose, they get voted out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's my only reason I haven't because everybody on social media right now is like, who do you think is going to win and why? And a lot of people have been like, Rachel's my pick. And if Rachel can get to the final 3, 2, whatever they're going to do, I think Rachel's got a really good shot. She's got to get there. And this is such a difficult time. And I can't tell you how many finales we've gone into in Survivor history where I've been like, this is my person. I love them. They're in such a great spot. Final 6, final 5, they're booted because they don't get immunity. Mm-hmm. So I that's why I agree with Sarah, because I think at that point, even if she plays both advantages right or wrong, it's got to come down to winning. So that's where I stand.
That's very true. We're going to move on to Sue now because we've got Zan in the chat saying I'm rooting for Sue to pull a Gabler.
Oh, I don't rule it out, though. I really don't. And it's not because I think Sue's done anything spectacular, but I still don't know what a spectacular Gabler necessarily did. So
it's a Gabler? Okay.
Well, I never rule it out because it all depends on who is with her at the end. How is the jury feeling about who's sitting at the finals? And depending on how pissed they are at certain people, if they are pissed at Andy and she's sitting there, maybe she does have a better chance. Who knows? I don't know.
Let me be clear, because I know there's a lot of new people here that don't know me and have never watched our show, which you should, by the way. But I started off up here with Sue, rooting for her, loved her. I was like, oh, Sue's a badass. I'm here for it. And every episode, I was just like, you petty, salty, not 45-year-old woman, wash your face and get over it.
Sarah.
I will say, I found something out about Sue's face.
The makeup thing?
This alleged makeup thing, but I'm not talking about it until Saturday for me. But I will say, I agree with you completely on Sue. Like, for me, I really thought, oh, she's going to surprise people. She's going to do this. And then, just for me, it started going down. I will say, though, we forget Sue currently has 2 people on the jury that are probably going to be Team Sue hard in Caroline and Gabe.
Yes.
And I only say that because of how loyal she was to them. I think she could get Caroline's vote. I think Gabe could be a bit wishy-washy, which would prove why she should have never trusted him in the first place. But that's just him.
But we've seen Caroline vote against Sue in her own best interest. And we've heard enough of Caroline's strategy that I believe that if Caroline had a solid argument and someone had a solid argument in case and resume to present, I feel like Caroline would vote. There's a chance that Caroline votes for game and not for relationship here.
That's fair.
I think Gabe could possibly actually go for Andy if Andy gets in the final, because someone pointed out, I can't remember who did the word association. It was either RHAP or Mike Bloom. One of them did it.
It was Mike Bloom.
With Gabe. And Gabe's word association word for Andy was genius. And when I saw that, it made me step back, because then it made me look at the way he said Andy flip-flopped last week. That made me look at it in a little bit of a different way. Doesn't mean that I might not even look at it negatively or like have some sort of weird feelings about it in that moment. But then looking at the phrasing that he's using after the season, I thought that was really interesting.
To clarify, Gordon Holmes does the word association.
Oh.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Yes.
Unless they got some snowballs in hell, Sue won't be winning this season here. So we not. I don't even know why we're talking about that one, but okay. I will give her credit for playing the game. She's playing her game. She's competing. She's in challenges. She's doing the game of Survivor, and I'll give her all the credit in the world for it. But outside of that, and talking about Kyle, he's gone, she's really this kind of piece of the puzzle for someone else to use.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that, because she's been in the game, but she just hasn't been anybody that was a threat. She hasn't controlled any type of voting. And, we all trying to figure out, I'm trying to figure out, are you dipping your hand in the ash before it cools off? Or, are you waiting? What are we doing here? I remember seeing the fire.
Revealed.
Yeah, I'm not sticking my hand in the fire. That fire was hot. But she's playing the game of Survivor. It's just not at a level where we look at her as this is one of the top people in the current group.
Yeah.
She couldn't beat Andy. No, you're not even beating Andy.
Well, we've got a couple of things here. Zan thinks that if it wasn't for Kyle, Sue would have been a challenge beast, which fair, she was behind him in a couple of them. And also Jay thinks that Sue will be the Final Four making loser because her edit is similar to Liz. So we have to wait and see. We've got just a quick one here from Roy as well. If the tsunami floats away the other 5, she might win. Has to be a really strong tsunami at that point, unfortunately.
So we basically talking about a whole storm coming.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on to kind of our free now Operation Italy people. Let's start off with Genevieve, because we haven't really spoken about Genevieve a lot this podcast. So what do we think Genevieve has to do to get to the end and then have a chance of winning? For me, she has to survive.
Yeah.
This is so wild to me, because Genevieve was our very last by default draft pick.
Seriously.
She was the unanimous first boot vote. We also, I think there were a couple articles, if I'm remembering right, that just left her out of them for pre-cast announcement. So we're like, oh, that's not a good sign. And we kind of went from there, but we hardly got anything from her preseason. So it was giving first boot. To be sitting here and talking about like she actually has like if she makes it to finale, I can hear her resume, I can hear her final argument, and I could see people actually voting for her. This is wild to me. I don't know how genuine it is, but I love that she is talking about building these relationships and how kind of making amends for being cold and aloof and being vulnerable, because I feel like it's improving on her social game where she needs it the most. Because yes, she does need to win to get to the end, but she also needs to like soften some edges along the way. And I feel like she's starting to plant the seeds to do that, so she can continue to work on that in her one-on-ones. Then she might have I'd say even a better shot at getting to finale than Sam.
Well, just to point out, you mentioned that Genevieve was your default last person picked. We, for our Survivor draft, actually had John Levitt. John Levitt was our default person.
Nobody.
Nobody wanted him, even me, myself.
I love John, but no, I couldn't touch him. I was literally like everybody else. Somebody else took him, and I was teasing it the whole time.
Allie took him as a risky pick. She goes, he's either first or he's going to be here a minute, so I want him. Like she admittedly said she wanted him as a risky pick. But
John Levitt is at home right now, mad because he didn't run up there and jump on Andy and beat him down. He's like, I should have beat him down. I could have still been on the show. I think if he'd have made it past that episode right there, we would have still seen him in the game.
I'm curious to know, like, if there was like some way that he survived, like how that would have changed the outcome of this season. Obviously, it would have had a drastic outcome, but like, I'm just curious to know, like how
the last 5 vote outs where Andy had a hand in it, we wouldn't have seen any of that. The dynamics of the game would have been changed immensely because Andy's gone. And we're looking at Andy like, what is Andy doing? Why is this guy seem like he's doing the right things to win Survivor? Now, replace it with John Levitt. You'd be like, man, this is the worst season ever. Nothing would have went the same way. So it's kind of, I tell people the same thing every time. The players in every season makes the game of Survivor, not the actual show. Because you never know what you're going to get. We never expected Andy to get up off that ground and be the player he is right now. He's killing it.
Yeah.
Now, Genevieve was my winner pick. I picked Genevieve to win the game. So
really? That's
at
what point did you make that decision though?
So we pick ahead of time. We pick
before the season starts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about Genevieve? Because there wasn't a whole lot from her preseason made you feel winner.
So when I'm picking, I usually look and say, okay, what is their job? Do they have the ability to talk to people? And as a lawyer, she has the ability to talk to people, but also put on that she knew where her emotional boundaries were at. And go back to the last tribal council where she said, hey, I need to be a little more open. Everybody that's sitting out there right now feels the same thing because we are who we are, but then with the island is killing us because we're emotionally, we being drugged all day, but you're only seeing 2 hours of it. But emotionally, we getting beat down. So for her to open up and say, hey, everybody can relate to it. And nobody's going to get mad or talk to you or be petty about you being emotionally vulnerable. And she's saying, you're right. She's saying the right things for the jury to hear right now because they're basically going back to Ponderosa, sleeping in beds, having drinks, eating food all day, having a good time. So they know and feel what you're feeling and they living it through it right now. So if Rachel not sitting next to her, Genevieve is going to win.
I would love that for my draft.
Hey, look, I got Rachel and Genevieve.
I still have Sam and Genevieve. Sammy has Rachel.
I still have Sue and Andy.
You have Sue and Andy, and Allie just has Amy.
Sam should have been voted out.
Andy said, so there was something Andy said at the beginning of the season, which is why I picked him. And he was my winner pick from the beginning of the season because he talked about his ability to charm and disarm. And I could feel it as he was speaking to me. And I was like, there's something about it that like, I don't know. And then the first episode came on and I was like, oh my God, I had to have read that so incredibly wrong. But I don't know, the last few episodes, I really do feel like whether he wins or not, he has had the ability to charm and disarm the people that he's on the island with in order to get things that he wants. So
I've really enjoyed this character arc for him, this player arc.
He's
wild.
Look, I don't know why people just want to say it, but Andy can win Survivor. He can win the season. Yes. I mean, he's just played a masterful game. go back and look at the title of Survivor. Outwit, outplay, outlast. Andy, we thought we were going to get voted out in the second vote of the season. Andy's still here. Outwit, he's outwit some of the better players to get them out already. Outlast, he's outlasted everybody else right now. All he has to do is kind of maneuver for these last 3 votes. Now, if he can get to the right group, he's basically what Rachel needs to be now, tied in with the right people. He doesn't have to do that. He has Genevieve, he has Sam. There's only 6 of them. So if you can,
it couldn't hurt if he would win something.
And they winning that. Look, you don't win at the end because you're tired. You physically and emotionally, you're at a point where you just got to dig a little deeper. And Annie hadn't dug deep on no challenge at all. He just says, "Hey, I'm just going." Matter of fact, if you look at some of the video, he's just standing there like, "I know somebody gonna win, but it ain't gonna be me." So I'm just gonna watch.
He did good at the grip strength comps.
That was the only one, and like
Yeah.
he gave. I don't know if he gave up, but like he kind of gave in at the end, and I felt like he had a lot more in him. So I didn't know if it was the edit because it seemed like he was holding on really tight, and then all of a sudden he gave. So I don't know if it was just because they were kind of chopping up time, or if it was him being like, "Yeah, I feel comfortable now. I'm good." It's more for him to answer than anything else.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be like, "Hey, I came in second." No, you want to get the necklace because that's another thing when we're back home and we're looking at our season and stuff. You looking at I got a little collection over here. I'm looking at my little collection. I'm like, hey, I got something. I ain't got everything, but I got something. And you just looking at it and you enjoying it because it's like a memory from that show. But I think Andy as a player, a Survivor, what it's supposed to be, I think he's playing a great season. I think Rachel is playing a heck of a season, and it's just different. Her play style is different.
I've been a Rachel fan since pre-merge. Like I've just watched this trajectory of her, and it's so impressive. And like if Saul hadn't saved her, because I was feeling it so hard. She was out, she was gone, and if Saul hadn't given her that advantage, I was gonna be devastated. And then just to see what she's done with that second chance.
That didn't pan out too much good for Saul.
It did not. It did not. No.
So her loyalty is kind of low.
I feel like Saul has more potential if he was ever to come back for another season, because like he seemed like there were pieces that he, like, I think he's another person that didn't end up on the right season cast wise. Like if he was on a different season, like I think his game might have been a little bit different. I mean, I think he got very lackadaisical at the end. He was just like, I'm fine. I helped Rachel. I'm good. I think he got a little cocky there at the end, but I think he's got a good mind for the game. And I thought it was interesting to see how he like instantly had butted heads with Rome. I mean, the Rome stuff feels like how long ago?
I tell people it's the first part of Survivor, and then it's the second part of Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may do a lot of stuff in the first part that nobody knows about because none of your tribe survived. So your new second part, you're dealing with all those people, and yeah, some of them met Rome up close. But the rest of them, Rome is so many episodes back. It's like, okay, well, what did you do to Rome? Well, I voted Rome out. Well, what did you do since then?
Yeah.
I forgot about Rome. Except dipping his head in the water.
And you know,
how could you ever forget about Rome? Hi.
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry. With the good thing about live things, my internet decides to be bad, so I'm now on my phone.
Speaking of Rome, that was actually really funny. So Rome and Genevieve were the last two, and we kind of have a team draft situation. And Abigail and Allie had to pick between the two, and they picked Rome. And I was like, oh well, thank God, because if I had to have the two, and my thing was like, oh, he seems nice, but like it's too much. He's going to be way too much. And when you know, the very first comment on our YouTube video was Rome.
It really was.
Thanks for not picking me last. And then the following week, there I am right in front of him at, oh my gosh, what's the watch party, Abigail?
Bryson Wen.
Right, yes, Bryson Wen in Dallas. And there he is, right in front of me.
Wait a minute. I don't remember seeing you in Dallas. I was in Dallas.
Yeah, I met you. And you were talking with you and Michaela. My table was like 3 tables down from you. It's okay. I'm not memorable.
It's like,
right, we just dip him. We dip him. It's fine.
Yeah. But there he was, right in front of my face, and I was like, "Hi, yeah." I said you were going to be first boot.
It's fair. To be fair, Rome has been on our podcast a couple of times, and I've been there like, "Hi, love you."
Rome is a nice guy. He's
very nice.
But I would have drug Rome through them woods. I was like, hey, you was real aggressive. You was real aggressive, and I was like, Saul, are you gonna do that? Now, I will say Saul's best footage is when he walked through tribal council that day it was raining. That's his best footage right
Oh,
now.
listen.
Oh my Lord. The vest, so good.
We do a thing here called spark or snuff. Absolute spark.
Oh my God. Like even Gabe was like in his exit interviews, he was like, we were all like just staring at him for like 5 minutes. We didn't know what to do.
When they saw the rain, when they saw slow-mo was on.
Yeah, I know.
They watched
those birds flying around him. What is happening right now?
I love it.
If we just a fan vote, he'd win the fan vote, in my opinion. He would hands down, I think, be getting that popularity vote because, like,
for sure,
everyone says that I know.
They're not. We've sadly no Sia money this season as per last season. Is there anyone we've missed since my connection left?
I think
did you talk about Sam?
That's, I think, the only one we didn't go into super a ton. And
I just said he needs to win. That's his thing. If he needs to win, he's got a hell of a resume. If he wins, being in the bottom or being a target and being, that plus the wins plus Operation Italy, he just has to win to get there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think he's got the ability to, if he can get to the final three, to really like. We were talking about Andy's phrase charm and disarm. I think he could really charm people if he can get to the final. So like I think it's going to be so interesting to watch how this plays out because you have to place pieces so carefully. Sometimes there's multiple people you can take and feel comfortable. And I don't know if there really is that option this year besides like maybe if you feel comfortable with Sue, but everybody else isn't. So
I don't think Sam can beat Sue. I'm confident that he could beat Sue.
Totally.
Everybody else is an uphill battle.
What's funny to me is last week I was in a place where last week, if you had asked me before the episode, I didn't think Sam had a shot to win. I didn't. When they kept talking about what a threat he was in this underdog alliance, it's not that you're not the underdog if you have all the advantages and all the votes. So get GTFO. But I don't know if we can cuss on here, so I'm just watching myself. But so then Operation Italy plus that competition performance with the balls just going through the net, like I was shook it. I was floored. I was like, okay, so we do have comp wins. We do have strategy moves. And then he can add in and sprinkle in that he had been a target for so long. So like there's boom, he's got his resume.
Yeah. I think Sam, I do think, needs to ensure first and foremost that he has bigger targets in front of him because he has been this meat shield for so long that my worry with this, at least first part of the finale, he gets picked off, he gets the shield and he goes. I don't want that because he is the last person on my draft and we don't want that for me. But we just...
Vote him out, vote him out.
Shut up, Abe. But I still think I agree with you, Sarah. I think he has got a resume, and especially with this merge, he's been able to kind of be an underdog. So I think he's got this really nice kind of story arc that he can tell at the end. So I think it will just be a case of making sure he's got people in front of him that will be like, get them before you get me. Go for them. They're the juicier ones to go for.
I think Rachel gonna give him a little bit of payback for the last time she shared some information with him and he went and told directly. I think that's going to be a little bit of payback to get. I think that's what's going to put Sam out. Somebody's going to get him back for something he had done to him before.
I think it's just crazy that there are 3 Gata in the final 6. That wasn't at the beginning of the season ever anything that I would have imagined. But it's kind of giving, I can't remember the tribe that Carolyn and Jam Jam and Carson were on, but it's kind of I just can't think of the name off the top of my head. I know
Tika.
Yes, Tika. Thank you.
Is in there.
They're not the Tika 3 in terms of like how close they were,
no.
but it's like the underdogs. You really didn't think that this tribe was going to get to that point in a lot of situations based on how dysfunctional they were. And they're not exactly Tika, but they kind of remind me of them just a little bit. It's really interesting.
And well, the flip side of that is you've now only got one Tuku. Sue is the sole Tuku, Tuku left. So
That's
we
crazy.
have to wait and see what happens. Okay, we are getting close to obviously Survivor coming up for some people. So I want to, before we get to the last little bit, I want to ask, what are our predictions for this episode? Who is in danger? Who do we think could win immunity? What are the predictions? I'm going to go to Abe first.
Okay, so I predict that Genevieve wins immunity for the first time. She's going to win immunity. That's going to take her off the chopping block. Rachel's going to play her idol. Sue's going to play her idols. I think it's they have to play it now. They're going to play their idols. And Teeny or Sam gets voted out.
Okay. I'm going to go to Abbie because I can just see Sarah really thinking there, and I think she needs a bit more.
Because I agree, but I have some differences. But yeah, go ahead.
I think Genevieve also gets an immunity win. I really do. I think the story arc is really reaching for it there, and I think there's almost no way it doesn't happen. I think Rachel's not going to survive this episode. And if Rachel survives this episode, I think Rachel really is going to win this game. But I'm going to put I'm going to put it out there and say I think she's not going to survive. That's sad. I don't want that to happen.
Okay, listen, Sarah. The Capricorn in me is overthinking the heck out of this. But because I agree. I agree that the edit is giving Genevieve gets immunity and Rachel goes. But because the edit is like psych all this season.
True.
I don't want to trust it. So I feel like we're going to lose Sam and Teeny. Like, I don't know where that's coming from. It's one of those weird gut feelings, but I feel like Sam and Teeny are gone.
Well, Roy hopes you're wrong. He wants you to let you know. And we've got some predictions from Jay as well, so there are his predictions. And Randy is here, just to say he's also a Capricorn and overthinks everything. Doing you proud, don't worry. Let's hope he didn't see the part where my thing froze for ages. But thank you guys so much. This has been a great kind of pre-show. I'm so excited. I obviously will not sadly be watching it live, but I cannot wait to watch it tomorrow. But before we kind of get things finished here, shall I say, have got some things to plug, obviously. Got all this going on. Just to say, after the episode, come straight back here because we will have the after show with Will. Abe, will you be here for that?
I will be in the after show.
You will see Abe, and I do believe Bruce as well, and Josh. So keep a lookout for that. And then also on Friday, we have our Survivor Stock Watch. So for anyone that doesn't know, that is all of our little they're looking into the edgic. They're looking into all the things. Will be back there with Jack as well. And then on Saturday, we've got something for you. That will be myself, Phil, and Matthew. We will be going through everything scene by scene and also delving into the social medias. So I will be scouring. And when I say scouring, I will be looking at everything. So just know that. And then on Monday, we have Survivor Social with Emily Little. And that is, you don't want to miss it. They will be looking at everything social related to Survivor, even giving out the Social Butterfly Award. But just to remind everyone, we've got our Patreon. Please go subscribe if you haven't. We've got some amazing content on there. Myself, Abe, and a couple of other people did some touchy subjects. So that is definitely one you want to go and watch. Also, go check out our merch. We've got an amazing shop with some stuff. I have heard the hoodies are amazing and comfy. Also, remember to follow us on X and Instagram. We may be getting a blue sky. I've just got to tell Randy to do it. And don't forget to subscribe because you get to see Abe's lovely face there. But that is Survivor now. Thank you so much. Before we leave, though, girlies, have we got anything else we'd like to plug?
Oh, we're getting ready for Traders season, so
ramping
up for January.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. We go hard with our Traders coverage over at Wicked Unscripted, and we are so excited because we have Carolyn on this new season of the Traders from season 45. We've got Tony, we've got Jeremy, we've got Boston Rob. and tons of other people from other reality shows. So we are super psyched, especially for the Survivor people. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm definitely going to make sure I tune in. Just to remind everyone, Wicked Unscripted on all platforms?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure to subscribe tonight. Don't you worry. But thank you so much, girls, and Abraham, of course, as well. Thank you for talking to me. I'm so excited to see how this first part of the finale is going to kind of shape up. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for your contributions as well. We absolutely love them. But get ready for part 1 of the 2-part Survivor finale starting in about 5 minutes' time. Go enjoy.